A young lady named Mia goes into her room to have intercourse with her significant other Thomas yet. He overlooks her and returns to rest. Aggravated with this, Mia strolls ground floor. Furthermore, checks her better half's PC where she tracks down an email from Dr. Isabel Rubin, his colleague. When she opens the email, she sees a photograph of somebody's consumed skin with the word 14K composed on it. The following day, Thomas watches a video interview of Isabel about Resurrecta, a impending operation for recapturing youth. She noticed that in light of the fact that of their specific natural attributes, their clients are at present generally men. In any case, later on ladies will likewise be ready to utilize it. After that, Thomas calls Isabel and welcomes her to his home so they can discuss the matter. In the meantime, Mia is getting back from her running when she meets Nika, a Russian woman who fills in as a sitter for a neighbor as they visit. Isabel, moreover, appears and starts commending Nika on her wonderful hair. She cautiously strokes Nika's head to cull her hair, which she then, at that point, tucks into her pocket. After that, Mia and Isabel go inside the house. Thomas illuminates Isabel that this creation should be held under wraps until they have adequate funds to help the offices and FDA endorsement. Anyway, Isabel contends that since another person could present this operation before them, their objective ought to be to trailblazer it to convince Thomas. She shows him photographs from a year back of a male client named Peter who appears many years more youthful in his current photograph. Notwithstanding, Thomas says that he's the organization's proprietor and cautions Isabel not to do anything without his authorization. Sometime thereafter, Mia spruces up to get her significant other's consideration, even goes as arranged. However, Thomas abruptly steps back from her. He guarantees that he can't offer what she needs on account of his fruitlessness. This disturbs Mia and makes her leave the scene. Movements to Nika, who is coming back when she, out of nowhere, catches a man. She proceeds to stroll forward, yet seconds after the fact Nico tumbles to the ground and becomes oblivious, and when she wakes up, she is encircled by two men who examine that the medication they utilized on her is an sedative for cows. After that, they torment her body by leaving an imprint on it with the warmed iron. Minutes after the fact, they happen upon an startling road obstruction. Seneca utilizes this opportunity to push the entryway open, carry out of the truck, and take cover behind the brambles. The following day, Isabel meets with Johansson, another client who needs to look more youthful. To examine the subsequent stages, she requests that he sign the non-revelation understanding and composes the sum he should pay in Bitcoin. They start the arrangement immediately, including taking a mouth swab, gathering his child hitter. What's more, removing blood. Johansson presses for additional data in regards to the strategy. However, Isabel proceeds to overlook him, and when the client communicates his dismay at being kept in the dim, Isabel ends the methodology. What's more, sends him out. Then again, Thomas and Mia are getting ready breakfast. At the point when he requests that Mia suppose Isabel's age, she accepts it should associate with 40. Anyway, Mia is stunned when Thomas concedes that she is really 61 and is not matured in the 10 years he has known her. All of a sudden, somebody beats on their entryway, and when they answer it, they see as a bloodied and perplexed entered Nika. Outside, Thomas sees her shoulder with D17 consumed into it and calls somebody on the telephone. Following that, Thomas demands on taking Nika to the emergency clinic, while Mia persuades her to trust her better half. A couple hours after the fact, Thomas pulls over his vehicle beyond what seems, by all accounts, to be an deserted plant. When he opens the entryway, a man shows up and hauls Nika into the building when Thomas sees the lady being hauled. He is shocked at the sight. However, he never really helps her. In the interim, Mia becomes worried as Thomas has still not returned, so she goes to his PC and tracks his whereabouts. All at once she gets a message from Thomas expressing that Nika has been hospitalized, yet his area demonstrates that he isn't close the emergency clinic. She then gets in her vehicle and heads to Thomas's area. On the other hand, Thomas strolls into the structure and questions Isabel about the one who took Nika. She illuminates Thomas, and he is a overseer she has recruited. He is known as, quote, the canine, while his right hand is known as the pig. Thomas guarantees that he expected the ladies had chipped in, yet Isabel illuminates him that it's simply brief. She then, at that point, shows an image of a lady named Ellie on her PC. When Thomas sees her, he communicates his culpability. So Isabel rubs his shoulders and guarantees that she'll assist him with moving past this. After Thomas leaves, Mia shows up at the structure as Isabel notices her through the CCTV camera. She then, at that point, hears a lady crying and moves towards the sound. She sees a lady controlled on a table being fiercely shocked by a man named Canine. Out of nowhere, his associate Pig shows up from behind Mia, yet she battles him and escapes. Sadly, she trips. What's more, they take her out. Oblivious when Mia opened her eyes, she finds that Canine is dry labeling her inside a room. At the point when Thomas at long last returns home, he acknowledges Mia isn't there. He right away calls Isabel, who illuminates him that Mia is with her, so he goes to the yet again assembling. In the interim, Canine orders Mia to put on something else. In the wake of evolving, she sees the entryway is open and makes a work to get out anyway. Canine makes do to snatch her, controlling her by tying her arms and seals her mouth with channel tape. He then, at that point, warms a metal bar and uses a 34A to stamp Mia's shoulders, and keeping in mind that she hollers in torment, Canine sprinkles the injury with his pee. After some time, Thomas appears at the structure while looking for Mia. He stumbles into Canine and tells him that his better half isn't similar to different ladies. However, then again Canine illuminates him that the test will confirm that. Just then he gets a call from Isabel and lets Thomas go inside for 5 minutes. When Mia sees Thomas, she becomes angered and starts to gripe about the circumstance he has put her in. Thomas cautions her not to escape all alone since she might be killed, and he vows to get her out in practically no time. Mia beseeches him not to leave her alone, yet he leaves the room. Next, when Thomas approaches Isabel, she cautions him not to reach out or Mio would be hurt. She holds onto his telephone and orders him not to leave the structure. In the interim, the caution goes off and Nika surges around the office endeavoring to move away. She at last comes outside Mia's room arguing for help. However, at that very second, Pig shows up from behind and crushes Nika in the head with a metal pole. Somewhere else, Johansson makes an appearance to meet Isabel again. He is very excited to seek treatment this time since he met Peter, who seems 20 years more youthful at this point. Isabel builds the expense by 50, yet the rich man consents to pay. On the other hand, Thomas creeps up to Mia's entryway. After a few attempts and effectively opens the room, the couple reconnects. However, Mia reviews the 14K photograph and asks her spouse who she is. Thomas uncovers that the young lady's name is Ellie, whom he met at a party 3 years prior. It would seem Isabel acquainted him with Ellie, expressing she was his sort. Thomas asserts that his memory from that day is foggy, yet he recollects Ellie mentioning to be restricted. Also, the following thing he knew: her dead body was on the bed. Mia begins terrifying as she considers how she will get away, yet Thomas guarantees her that he will save her. What's more, leaves the room a brief time later. Isabel calls Thomas and shows him her most recent creation, which is a biobag. She can develop incipient organisms here by buying ovaries from different nations anyway. She acknowledges that there are as yet certain issues that should be settled by coordinating the client's DNA and specifies that she is experiencing issues finding her DNA match, and a couple of seconds later Isabel effectively convinces Thomas to work with her to achieve their objectives together. Later Thomas hauls Mia before Isabel, saying that she knows excessively and should be taken care of. After a concise discussion about who will dispose of her, Thomas declares that he means to kill his better half with his own hands. He then gets a blade and hauls Mia out of the room, and quickly he sets Mia free in the passage to leave. However, the overseers notice them. The overseers start to pursue them, and Pig figures out how to thump Thomas out instantly. In the meantime, K9 looks for Mia. Ultimately, Mia views as a vehicle outside, however, it neglects to begin, and she is indeed gotten by K9. In the interim, Pig illuminates Isabel that her DNA coordinates with Mia's. Then again, right when K9 is going to kill Mia, Pig shows up to take her for the system. She is again thumped, oblivious, and awakens while being limited to an surgical table. Then Isabel investigates her ovaries to see whether there is a solid egg. After the test, K9 takes Mia to her new cell, where she sees other women. Some of them are pregnant, counting Ellie, who is as yet alive. Looking stressed, Ellie approaches Mia and illuminates her that her better half accepted she had kicked the bucket, and in her reaction, Ellie says that she was deceived by Isabel to do as such. Next, K9 shows up and sees a lady named Helena crying in torment. She says that her tooth harms, so he utilizes pincers to pull her teeth. When she can't oppose, shouting in torment, he staples her mouth shut. Seeing this, Ellie can't stand it any longer and